The LA Board of Supervisors has approved two new measures to strengthen protections for the Jewish community in the wake of rising hate crimes across the country. Here in LA, hate crimes have risen to their highest levels in 21 years. Here to discuss is the chair of the LA County Board of Supervisors, Lindsey Horvath, who put forward these two motions. And we're so thankful that you came into the studio this morning. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
So anti-Semitism, hate crimes at an all-time high. And I read the data. 83% of religious-based crimes in Los Angeles has targeted Jews. Talk to me about the data that you're seeing that led you to ramp up security measures for the Jewish community.
Yes, that's an alarming statistic, and we also saw from 2021 to 2022 a 59% increase in religiously motivated hate specifically against the Jewish community. And but we know, unfortunately, that anti-Semitism being on the rise is not a new story. We've been working on this issue, and I've personally been working on this issue even before I was on the Board of Supervisors, working to create, engage the Jewish community in creating safety measures that we can build into our communities and help inform how we deliver public safety.
Yeah, priority number one is to get law enforcement training. And as you said, when you were a member of the WeHo City Council, you put forth a similar initiative. Why do you think it will work in the county and what the difference it will make there?
Well, I think it's important that this plan has been informed by Jewish community leaders, Jewish community organizations. It's really listening to the community to say, how do we feel safe? What will make us feel safer? And how do we need to inform those who respond to crime in our communities? How do we need to inform them and how to respond specifically when it's anti-Jewish hate or attacks in a Jewish community? And I think that sort of preparation and training will make sure that our law enforcement officials respond culturally in a culturally competent way, but also make us all more aware of, not only Jewish high holy days when we want to make sure people can safely practice their religion, but also, God forbid, there's an issue in the Middle East or anywhere that has that will reverberate back here on the ground in Los Angeles.
Which we're seeing, as you well know.
Absolutely.
You've asked law enforcement to look at creating bubble zones, areas where protesters are likely to gather, much like abortion clinics in this country. How do you think that makes a difference when we know the zones that could be controversial? Yeah,
so the bubble zones will not, as you mentioned, will not be limited only to Jewish community organizations or things like that. We are actually modeling it after a Colorado law that has been tested in the courts, so we know there's precedent here to protect safety zones, to protect sensitive zones for people to be able to safely access healthcare, culturally competent services, and make sure they're able to do so safely. So abortion clinics, LGBT centers, places of worship. We are looking at how we can make sure people access these places in their community and they're protected while doing so.
And the initiative also provides resources for the victims of hate crimes. Where does that money go?
Yes. So currently we're spending more than $20 million between our anti-racism, diversity and inclusion initiative with our Human Relations Commission budget and the LA versus Hate campaign specifically. But we want to make sure that all of those services are documented and accessible to people who need them in a time of crisis.
And, these motions specifically address the Jewish community, but as you know, many communities are experiencing a rise in hate crimes too. Will there be similar initiatives for other communities?
We really expect this to be a template for other communities, just like we worked with Jewish community organizations. And I want to shout out, Jewish Federation, AJC, ICANN, so many organizations really participated with us. Oh, and of course the ADL. But we know that working with community-based organizations to help inform how we deliver safety will make it that much stronger and better. And we hope to do that with other organizations to serve all the diverse communities in Los Angeles.
This war in the Middle East has amplified, rage and hate here, and we're seeing that play out. Some of your colleagues have received death threats over their views, but you have made it very clear it is important to stand up to hate, so that you're willing to take those risks to state your views.
Absolutely. I think we have to make room for these conversations to be had. I think what we've learned in recent years is that this hatred has just been below the surface. There's sort of been this veneer that we've been making progress. But what we actually have to do is wrestle with the issues that create this hate, that inform discrimination, and heal that before we can really make progress. And so my hope is that by creating space for us to engage in meaningful dialogue to really tackle those tough issues and get into what it is that causes people to feel unsafe or concerned in their community, that we'll be able to meaningfully address them and move from a rhetoric around shutting down hate to actually implementing change with this kind of policy.
And what is the role of the County Board of Supervisors and all of our electeds to bring our divided city, our divided nation together? You have really stressed the importance of dialoguing, finding common ground, creating some kind of unity. Do you think that's possible in these incendiary times?
You know, we have to believe that it's possible, and we have to keep trying. You know, there's so many times where, you know, in working on issues like this, that we feel that hate back in our office. My staff gets really tough phone calls. I've gotten really difficult communication too. But the most important thing is that we move through it and understand that people are hurting. They are in pain, whether it's the war, whether it's an attack in their own community. We had a hateful group come out and protest us when we wanted to have a drag queen in a library. And so it's happening right here in our own backyard, and it scares people. So we have to really create a space for people to share what that feels like, and have an opportunity for people to put themselves in each other's shoes to create that kind of understanding and empathy.
Yeah, if we could see ourselves in each other more and understand, find some common ground, it would create a pathway forward.
That's right.
In terms of executing these initiatives, we have a police shortage and we have a recruitment challenge. So are we going to have enough officers on the ground to be able to execute your initiatives?
Well, we are working with the Sheriff's Department on this initiative, and we know they're also working in collaboration with local law enforcement agencies all throughout Los Angeles County. But the response is not limited to law enforcement. We have to make sure that all people who are sort of on the front lines of response, our Office of Emergency Management in the county, for example, is part of this. But the community-based organizations need to be part of that, and we all have a responsibility in keeping each other safe. So that's why being educated about what could be happening in your neighborhood can empower you to be the kind of ally that the Jewish community, that the LGBT community, and so many others need at this time.
You know, this is all happening at a time where the FBI has warning that we're going to see more hate crimes on the rise, but also the threat of AI and Chinese hackers. Do we have an AI defense strategy to keep the city safe? Are we a smart enough city, and are we making efforts in that direction?
It's like you're a mind reader. We are working on a policy right now to talk about the impact of AI in our region and what we as a county need to do to better protect people, and not only from a safety and security standpoint, but also, you know, we've seen how even in the recent strikes, how in the entertainment industry AI has surfaced and taken away people's jobs potentially. So we really have to think about the global impact of AI, and so we're working on a policy to do just that.
Oh, I love that. And you're also a staunch environmentalist. You campaigned on making sure that we were a clean energy leader. Have we made any progress on that front?
Yes, I'm proud to report Clean Power Alliance, which is Los Angeles County's community choice aggregate serving Los Angeles County, is the #1 clean energy provider in the entire country, recently recognized by the federal government. I am so excited. In just a little more than 5 years, we've reached that milestone, and we in Los Angeles County are leading the way on how we can provide clean energy to our communities, way ahead of the goals that the state set out for us. We're doing it already on the ground here in Los Angeles and Ventura counties.
Okay, you've just given us something really fabulous to celebrate. Now, it's no coincidence you and I are both wearing some version of red.
That's right. That's right.
All to raise awareness for, obviously, you know, heart dangers in women particularly. Important to you?
Yes, absolutely. Women's heart health, we know that women are disproportionately impacted by heart disease, and my grandmother died from a stroke. My other grandmother had a quadruple bypass when I was very young. I know these things run in my family, so it's important to me to make sure I know what the risks are, that we're tracking that and doing all that we can to keep me safe and hopefully keep women in our community safe too.
Yeah, banding together in solidarity for women's health,
yes,
heart health. Thank you so much for coming in. It's so important for us to have, you know, a real key understanding of what's happening in our county and our city, and thank you for the initiatives that you brought forth. Appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Take good care.